The Movie Preview Critic, informing and entertaining your movie world.
What's up, good movie lovers? The numbers are in for the box office weekend of March 6th through the 8th. So to find the movie truth and what it means for our future, there's only one thing left for us to do.
Break it down.
We never really wondered if Watchmen was going to be number one this weekend. We just wondered how much it would make. 50 million? 60? 80? 100 maybe? H. Wood's expectations, hopes, and dreams were bigger than Dr. Manhattan's intelligence. And the results? A decent, but for this movie, disappointing and kinda wimpy 55.2 million. But if you add in the foreign box office with 26.7 million, led by the UK with 4.5, the total worldwide after less than a week is 81.9 million. Its budget is 150, so it looks like there won't be a problem making that back, even though right now there are probably producers in H. Wood pissed that it didn't break 100 million opening weekend. But that's kind of what they get for making the trailer focus more on the imagery and relying on the director's reputation instead of revealing some story and character. It seems that the Die Hard fans showed up and everyone else wondered what the f was about and didn't bother to go. Maybe word of mouth will help it in week 2, which is going to be its real test. One of the major questions was, would it break 300's opening weekend numbers? And if you look at those figures, the performance of Watchmen becomes even more depressing. 300 opened in 3,100 theaters 2 years ago in March and made about $71 million. Watchmen was in 3,600 theaters and made 16 million less. That's probably because everyone understood 300. It was pretty straightforward. Spartan Army has to go fight invaders and it looks mega cool. End of preview. In terms of the ramifications for the filmmakers involved, there are no performances here that'll turn any of these actors into overnight hot acting sensation, but everyone did do a great job. If anyone's gonna reap rewards, it's director Zack Snyder. He's proven that he can handle huge projects and deliver solid results. The only thing that can stop him now is a huge flop, which doesn't seem very likely because he's pretty careful in choosing his projects. For our box office behavior here, we get an A. It's good that we supported a movie based on a great graphic novel while at the same time not making it a runaway hit. Hopefully the studio will learn that better marketing and more respect for the audience's intelligence would have paid off, instead of treating us like 2-year-olds who only respond to bright lights and loud noises. The rest of the top 10 is made up of movies we've already reviewed and discussed here on the breakdown, so let's just quickly go over them. In second place is Tyler Perry's Madea Goes to Jail, making 8.5 for a total of 76.2 after 3 weeks, but it's still going to come up short of the always impressive $100 million mark, probably finishing somewhere around 90. Because of his box office blue balls, Tyler Perry's going to pull the ultimate ace card to break through that $100 million barrier. Expect him to make Madea Goes to Heaven. I'm calling it right now. It's like Friday the 13th, the final chapter, or those old dramatic TV show ratings gimmicks, where you kill off a character, and for TV it brings in big ratings, while at the box office it brings in big dollars. For our behavior here, we get a C. A strong third week total almost guarantees a Madea Goes to Heaven movie because Tyler will feel the need to prove his box office manliness, and as a result, his growth as a filmmaker will begin to slow as he becomes predictable. Taken moves from 4th to 3rd with 7.3. What can I say? It's made 117 million. Good job us. Slumdog Millionaire is in 4th place, riding the Oscar wave of hype, but it's starting to crest, and the movie Cinderella Story of this year is heading towards DVD with a great take of about 6.8 million. How long has it been out? 17 weeks, and it's made 125, which is pretty great. But it's sort of depressing when you compare it with our old buddy, the box office king of 2009 so far, and official sign of the movie apocalypse, Paul Blart. He comes in 5th place, actually moving up a spot. What the Really? He moved up from 6th to 5th with 4.1 million, bringing his total to 133 in just 8 weeks. And that means it has a real shot of making 150 million. For our box office behavior here, we get an F. No, make that an F negative. Could we just start to ask around who exactly is seeing this movie every week? I actually checked to see if Kevin James might have had $130 million stashed away in his bank account in January, because it just seemed that he might be standing out in front of theaters handing money to everyone, telling them to go see this movie. But it turns out, no, it's not him. Then again, it could be Warren Buffett or Bill Gates. They have a ton of extra wipe my ass with hundreds, light cigars with 50 throwaway money. Maybe they were just playing a practical joke. Or maybe this is really the family movie of the year so far. I'm sure parents just want to take the kids to a movie that doesn't have superheroes knocking boots in their flying machines. I can respect that, and it's good for families to spend time with each other, but how about waiting for DVD? Let's cut down on the box office insanity. Oh, and last week I mentioned finding other better comedies that made more than Paul Blart in the US. So this week he beat Get Smart's $130 million domestic gross. That means we have to start looking again, so here we go. December 14th, 2007, Alvin and the Chipmunks. Even though it's animated, it's mixed with live action. It made $217 million in the US. Wow. I don't know if I'm happy or even more depressed. These are the top 2 live action comedies in the United States over the last 14 months. Wow. I guess it comes down to family. Family is the X factor. Oh, and if you were wondering, worldwide, Alvin and the Chipmunks made $357 million.
Holy Dave! Where's our cut of that money? You've been holding out on us.
To finish up, here's a list of places 6 through 10. Let's give ourselves a C for He's Just Not That Into You, because it's almost at $100 million, which guarantees a sequel or a TV show. We also get a C for Coraline. It's getting close to $70 million, but for us to get an A, we would have had to have pushed it closer to the $100 million mark. And speaking of an A grade, we get that for Confessions of a Shopaholic, because it should have been a little more courageous with the story material and its potential for commentary on our current economy and spending habits. The Jonas Brothers movie dropped 77%. Wow. Right here, let's call this our box office success of the week. So let's give an F to the Jonas Brothers fans here. You guys should have supported your band better. For the rest of us, we get an A. Let's face it, there just aren't $100 million worth of box office Jonas Brothers fans in the US, which is kind of a relief to know. F'd Up's box office earns us an A because we're voting for better teen comedies. And just to mention, in 14th place, we get an A for our Retaliation Against Jason. With $1.4 million this week, it's only made a total of 63 after opening with over 40. That's still not going to stop the sequel from being made or force the filmmakers of these horror remakes to add quality to the projects, but at least it disappoints them a little bit and ruins their day. Tonight at dinner, their filet mignons won't taste exactly right. Finally, let's add something new to the box office breakdown.
The box office psychic.
Each week we'll be trying to predict the numbers of the upcoming weekend's releases, which here is the weekend of the 13th through the 15th. First up, The Last House on the Left. In the preview review, it was mentioned that The Last House on the Left is the only horror release of March. Looks like that's not true anymore, because on March 27th, you've got The Haunting in Connecticut coming out. Combine that with the recent onslaught of uninspired horror movies like The Unborn, The Uninvited, Friday the 13th, and My Bloody Valentine over the last few months, and we the audience might be feeling a little burnt out on seeing these types of movies. Expect Last House to make about $10 million opening weekend, and then fade away quickly over the next few weeks. In the US, its total should end up somewhere in the $30 million range. Then there's Miss March. It's about a virgin who, on the night he's finally going to score with the local hottie, hits his head and goes into a coma, then wakes up 4 years later to discover that his hottie is now everyone's whack-it-in-the-bathroom girl, because she's a Playboy centerfold. That's kind of a stretch for a setup. In story terms, it's pretty effed up. Just like Effed Up. This has no-name stars just like that movie, it's about some dudes trying to get laid just like that movie, and will probably have the same box office destiny as that movie. Effed Up made 5.4 its opening weekend, but because this has the Playboy name attached to it, and the, climax of the movie will probably take place at the mansion, and will of course have a cameo by Hugh Hefner, more dudes might show up to this one to get a peek of legal hot chicks instead of cheerleader jailbait. It's probably going to make about $7 million and finish somewhere around the $20 million area for its US gross. On the opposite end from horny teens and Playboy debauchery is Race to Witch Mountain with The Rock. So this is a kid's movie about kid aliens and The Rock has to get them to Witch Mountain and blah blah blah. It's a remake of an older movie, so it's a nice safe movie for kids. Race to Witch Mountain will make about $25 million because families are sick of seeing Paul Blart over and over, and it should finish with a US box office of around $60 million. Watchmen should repeat as box office champ, especially with all the reviews out mostly being positive and with word of mouth spreading. So look for it to make about 25 to 35 million, which is off of the Box Office Psychic's prediction in the preview review of Watchmen for a second week take of 40 million. So that's it. We'll meet back here next week to see how these predictions turned out. And how about we end our time together with a question? Why didn't Watchmen make more money? Was it the advertising? Was it the R rating? Do underage kids actually get carded for R movies nowadays? And what made you want to see or not want to see Watchmen? Leave your thoughts in the comments section. So thanks for hanging out. Remember, the movie future is in our hands. Hollywood gives us more of what we pay for, so choose wisely. And as always,
Long live good movies!